If you're anything like me, building a fire is nothing new. You've set ablaze and stoked a lot of campfires, bonfires, and barbecue grills. But maybe you're relatively new to wood-burning stoves and can't figure out why it's so flippin' hard to light it up and keep it going without filling the room with smoke. Good God, it's not rocket science, right? The good news is it's not really that hard. You've just got to change up your approach a little bit. The big guy in a tiny house has got you covered. It's getting cold here, and we've already had our first snow. And I finally got the wood stove installed in the cabin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the best method I've learned for lighting one of these wood-burning stoves. And this method works for any stove, not just the small one I've got here. You can use this on a full-size stove too. It's called the top-down method. It's a little different than lighting a campfire. What I've got here is I've got the cubic mini Grizzly tiny wood stove. And it's supposed to be sort of a high-efficiency wood stove that recirculates the exhaust. It's sort of smokeless, sort of like one of those solo smokeless fire pits, and it reduces the amount of creosote buildup in the chimney. At least that's the concept. And it's Canadian made. I bought it about a year ago, and I've lit it a few times already this season, and it puts off a lot of heat, I gotta tell you. It's small, but it's definitely big enough for this cabin. As I mentioned, I'm going to show you the top-down method that I've learned to get one of these things started. Because to be honest with you, I had a little bit of a hard time getting it lit the first few times. When it comes brand new, they say you should burn it for several hours to sort of finish curing the paint, and you should do that outside so that all the fumes are let off outside instead of here in the cabin. And this method I'm about to show you seems to work pretty consistently. I've done it several times now, and I've come to rely on it. So let me show you how I do it. So I start with a little bit of newspaper on the bottom. I get a lot of newspaper in packages, especially from eBay, so I always save it for this purpose. And then I'll get my bigger chunk of wood. This is my main chunk to get it started. Hardwood is usually the best. You can burn anything in here. You can burn pine, you can burn oak, but hardwoods like oak tend to burn longer and hotter, so they're better for these wood stoves. But you can burn scraps from the lumber yard or pretty much anything you find. You just want to make sure it's dry. You don't want to put wet wood in here or wood that's not properly seasoned, because all that moisture tends to create more creosote, which is the tarry buildup that can accumulate in your chimney, and that can cause a fire hazard. So dry wood, hardwood is best. And get your large block and place that at the bottom on top of your starter paper. Now here's my secret. At least this is what I've found works best getting these things lit. Is you can buy this stuff at the store. It's called fat wood, and what it is, from what I gather, what I've been told, it's from the stumps of dead trees, and it's the center core of the stump that's full of sap, that's dried and hardened, and that stuff burns really well. So it's called fat wood. You can get it at Walmart. You can get it just about anywhere. Every time I light the stove, I use 2 pieces. Now we take our kindling, a little bit smaller pieces of wood. These are the ones that we cracked outside on the kindling splitter. You want to just make sure that you leave enough space for air to flow from one layer to the next. And also another thing I'm doing is it helps if you build it towards the back of the chamber. That's where the chimney's set towards the back. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get this convection action going. And if your fire's under the chimney, that sort of helps it burn and starts the flow of air going straight up. So another secret, I buy these wood coffee stirrers. And these are great They burn real quick. They're real dry. They're real thin. You can get them real cheap on Amazon, you know, a whole bunch of them. I like to throw these in on top. They don't last long, but they're enough to light the fat wood underneath. This along with the paper. And that's really what you're trying to do here, is get that fat wood lit. And the reason this is called the top-down method is, you know, like a campfire, you'd put your kindling underneath, and that would sort of burn up and light the larger pieces above. This is sort of the opposite. You're putting the smaller pieces on top, the kindling on top. And the idea is that it burns down on top of the larger pieces on the bottom, so that those, they start burning really well, and then you get this really hot flame going. This initial light, your main goal is to get that fat wood lit. Once that fat wood's lit, it'll burn for, I don't know, 10, 20 minutes, and it stays lit. It burns everything. It lights everything on top of it. Everything on top of it burns. It settles down on that big piece on the bottom, and then you get a really nice, good fire going. Another thing you want to do is you need good airflow when you're lighting one of these. You need to crack a window. Usually, I actually built this shelf for the stove. Actually has a vent pipe coming in from underneath, so it can pull in fresh air year round from the wall behind it. But I also crack a window open because you really want a good airflow, so that there's a lot of air coming in here. It's not like you're going to suffocate in here, but it does, you know, burn a lot of oxygen, and it gets very, very hot, and you just want enough air to really get it lit and burning well. So this model of stove actually has two of these dampers here. It's got this front one here, which you want to have wide open when you're starting it. It's got this bottom one also, which pulls in the fresh air from underneath once it's going. But you want to start with that one closed and this one wide open. See if I can do this with just one match. Now when you're lighting it like this, you do want to keep the door closed, but you don't want to latch it tightly. It really is sucking in a lot of oxygen right now. And you want that, you want as much oxygen to get in there as possible. So I just sort of lightly set this so that there's still air getting in around the door. There's air getting in through this damper, and it should be enough to get it lit here. Tying down a little bit here. I may even actually open this to give it a hand. Might need another match. Alright. That one is going. I will just wait. You might start seeing a little black buildup on the glass like this. That's normal. It's almost unavoidable, but I clean it off every one or two burns. Sometimes if you get if you have wet wood, especially, or if when you're starting it like this, if it's too close to the glass, you'll get a lot of that black soot or creosote on the glass like that. They sell creosote cleaners or wood burning stove glass cleaners. I think it's just an ammonia cleanser, to be honest with you. But whether you buy the ammonia cleanser or the stuff that's made for wood burning stoves, both of them work pretty well. We're going pretty good here. The kindling is definitely lit. That large piece on the bottom is not lit yet. Sometimes I'll open it. I like to see the fire. When I get a little bit of black on there, I'll wipe it off. It's going good now. This top-down method seems to work well, especially with that fat wood in the middle. I don't know if you can see this magnetic thermometer up top on the chimney. That's what tells you if your exhaust is hot enough, so that you're burning off all the soot. You're not depositing a lot of creosote in the chimney. You can see there in the orange, that's where you want to be. There's a similar one that sticks right on the side of the stove, and they're made for the different positions, so you have to make sure you have the right one in the right spot. But that kind of gives you two indications of whether or not your fire's hot enough. Yeah, looks like that bottom log is lit. We are going. I never know when the right time is to open up this bottom damper and let more air in through the bottom. I usually try to wait until that bottom log is lit, but I don't know. Let's see here. Open that up. It should intensify the fire. Yep, it's definitely going now. So there you have it. Best way to light a wood-burning stove. Top-down method. Large pieces on the bottom with some newspaper, kindling on the top, with some fat wood in the middle. The fat wood is key. Once that's lit, you're good to go.
So, if you've been struggling with a wood stove, there's no shame in that. I had to learn it from someone, and now you can enjoy the warm glow of a rolling flame, too, with a lot less frustration. If you ask me, it's the best way to stay warm and cozy in an off-grid cabin.
But hey, what do I know? I'm just a big guy sitting here in a tiny house.